Yeah! What's going on, people?
Good morning.
Good morning, Jen. How are you?
I am good. Ready to go.
I see you got you were showing off a little while ago, a special fancy t-shirt you got. It
Yes. Look
might
at my shirt.
look at that. Be kind. Love it. It's Saturday.
Yes.
It looks like we got some people already out there on the live stuff. Maybe a YouTuber. We got some LinkedIners.
Yes.
What's up, folks?
Oh, we already got a powerhouse already. It's not even started yet.
Yep. Everybody, I'm trying to get all my stuff set up here at the house because I forgot to turn off the volume on the phone. So let us know where you're at. If you're a first timer, drop us a blue heart in the comments so we can recognize you. I can't promise you that I won't go and try to friend you and follow you and stalk you. But let the tribe know that you're here. You're happy to be here. We're happy to be here with you. Is that Adam? Adam's coming on? No? Adam's just
probably over there trying to push buttons and not pay attention.
Yeah, so y'all know DJ Hootie Hoo is out there in the background supporting us as always. Oh yeah, here we go. So we've got Miss Sarah Strand. She says, good morning. What's up, sister? She's coming in from Minnesota. We got Yesenia.
Good morning.
Oh, and you know what? Yesenia, 2 gold stars for your homework.
Yes.
You did your homework on celebrating a win. Folks, last chance. Submit your homework. What was the win that you celebrated for the week, for the past 2 weeks, for the past year, whatever? Like, we're trying to build the habit of celebrating wins because for some of us, it's not the strongest muscle. Miss Carrie coming in from Melbourne, Australia. She says, go time. Yep. Got the coffee. Hold on. Look, I even have like a rated G coffee mug.
That is rated G.
Oh man, so I'm gonna fly through these because everybody's amazing. We got Bruce coming in from Queens, New York City. What's up, Bruce? He's been super active in the group chat.
Just jumping in and supporting people. Yes.
George Hunt, you know that guy?
Yeah, I've seen him around a little bit.
Right. Another powerhouse out there. They're doing some good stuff with the New England COP.
Nice.
There it is, Will. Will, I don't know if you saw Jennifer's shirt.
Look at my shirt.
Look at that.
Just for you.
Be kind. Y'all need to check out Will
Wednesdays with Will
at 11 a.m. Central.
I believe so.
Right, 12 Eastern. Awesome conversation. Great people. Be human. Be kind. Be humankind. Be all of the above. Amy, of course, Miss Amy. She said, good morning from Durham, North Carolina.
Yes.
Mr. Jim Guntorius is joining from the back deck. Oh, he's got his wife with him again. All right, y'all. So just so like next level, Jim started watching, like engaging with us independently. And then he's included his wife. And last time, I think what I got from the comment is Ms. Guntorius is like, see, I told you. So if you want to elevate your game, get some accountability with your significant other to sit there next to you and watch you.
Right. And I think it forced him to commit to taking a vacation because of all of our conversations from the last time.
Uh-oh. All right, Jim, we need to know where is the vacation? What are you doing? Dr. M, Old Faithful. Y'all got to check out the Dr. M vodcast. At 6:30 p.m., he's coming in from India.
International.
Carrie. Yep, international. Carrie, because she's hilarious. Y'all got to find Carrie like on Instagram and LinkedIn. I'm sorry, Instagram and YouTube and TikTok. She posts super, super funny stuff. Who's that guy?
Oh, Steve Martin.
The chief marketeer.
Yep. He's doing
What's going on, Steve? If y'all haven't seen it, you still can go to the YouTube channel or go back to the NoBS page on LinkedIn where he did a live performance of the 2 songs he wrote. It was amazing, like tear jerking. It was a very meaningful experience for all of us. So thank you. The dog ate her homework. It's all right, Carrie. I know you have something to celebrate. So feel free to throw it in there. Mr. Anson Green coming from J-Town. That's my buddy, Anson Green.
Yes, you got a couple of San Antonio folks
The
on
Deuce Dime in the house. Look at that. Kirby Coates. Oh, yeah. So Kirby, we got to celebrate with Kirby yesterday on some of the calls we had. And she was versating. So if you don't know what that means, you want to check out the book, Fierce Conversations. And so conversate means two people, versate. You've had those conversations with those people that it's not a conversation. They're just talking at you. Kirby was so excited that she was just giving us all her joy and glee, but it was totally received. So it was not a violation. Yep. Miss Valerie Hendricks. Good morning, Valerie. Love seeing you. Oh my God, we got tons of people. All right. So Matt, what up, Matt? Says Buenos dias coming in from Denver. Miss Janet, how are you? In San Antonio. Janet, I may be coming to visit you. Maybe. We'll see if that works out. Mr. Dennis, that we got to.
Yes, we have pictures with him.
Yep. Was that so? Do you still have any like hangover or the experience of that live panel discussion on mental health?
Yes. That was, I mean, one, just being in the room, being live, because there were a lot of people in that room that are in this chat over here that we got to be in person with, but also we were talking about a very serious, mental health in the construction space. But it wasn't just us being able to moderate an amazing panel, but like the people in the audience, like the sharing and the vulnerability and the talking and opening up to each other, about just things that we're having to deal with in our space and things that we just kind of keep pushing down and covering it and masking it with other things to be able to not have to deal with them. And it was just like all over the place. It was explosion of just vulnerability, trust, and talking about those very uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah, it was the vulnerability and the connection that I got to experience was not just because we were in person, but because people went there and opened up to a group of 30 plus people that they had never even really met. And one person opened up, another person opened up a little bit more, man, it was amazing. So, Mike Cunyon.
Yay, good morning.
What's going on, Mike?
I like it. So again, I want to just do this now. So there's some LinkedIn users that are showing up as LinkedIn user and not names. And so we have somebody that handles that. So if you can put your name in there, just so that Amy Campbell can help you change your settings so that your name will come through. She has done that for anyone that pops in and doesn't have their name showing up. So there's some settings in the background that you have to do to be able to have your name come through on some of this stuff. So if you'll do that, your name will pop up and we will see who you are.
Yes, absolutely. Miss Amy Campbell, hit her up. She can hook you up. We got Forrest Bivens.
Good morning, Forrest. He's got such amazing content. So if you are not already following Forrest, you need to follow him. He's like another Will to me. Like he is just putting amazing stuff out there every day, and he's commenting, jumping on our posts, jumping on other people's posts. But just good heart, kindness, just the stuff that we live in, that place. Follow him if you're not already, because he's amazing.
Magical, nothing but magical people. Woo-hoo. There he is again. Got the blue hearts, baby. Thank you for it. So I just want to keep celebrating everybody. But we're here to talk about something, right?
We do. Do we have a topic? I think
Adam had the topic, but he's not on screen. So
no. So we're gonna have to just kind of pull it out of somewhere.
Yeah, well, let's just roll with it. So we've had a series of conversations around the shift. And the shift is a reference to becoming more vulnerable and more transparent and more available. And we've talked about it, and it always sounds like really lovey-dovey, right? Everything's going to be peaches and cream. It's going to be amazing. Your leadership capabilities are going to explode, those things are true. But there's some stinky funkiness that happens. Right. Because I know for me, the more vulnerable that I am, the more that I share here with the NoBS tribe, it's not scary. It's not bad. But being that open and receiving the love and all the goodness that everybody brings, affects me emotionally. Like it has an impact on my energy. And so what these conversations have been really about, what is that like, and kind of in preparation, because I mean, just between you and I, Jen, I have a history of being vulnerable, to maybe a deeper degree than other folks have been historically. So I have a comfort level with it. But a lot of us that are just now like testing it, right? Starting to do it, we kind of want to give you a heads up of what it's going to be like and what to be prepared for. And so if y'all see little pictures up there, the doodles, those are Jen's. Y'all, if y'all didn't know, Jen is also an illustrator mogul. And you'll be seeing these soon in the book when it hits the shelves, baby. And so part of it is, if we go out there, we be vulnerable, we be more available to the people in our space, you got to refill your cup. Right? So we have that little cup up there, and there's a well that we all got to pour into. We got to make deposits in the well, and we got to do withdrawals from the well. Because if you don't, it just gets emptied. And so we got to take care of one another. Now, you start being vulnerable. Here's the fun thing. My experience, the more vulnerable, the more transparent, the more I talk about the real answer and not get hung up on the right answer, the more parties I get invited to, right? Like more people want to play with me. And then there was this point in time where it's like, man, I'm getting invited to all these parties, come walk the job. Can you come check it out? We might have some problems that you can help us with. And what ended up happening at that period in time, and all of a sudden this switch flipped to where everywhere I went, I felt like my purpose was to fix. My purpose was to give answers, be a problem solver, dun, 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 master problem solver. And that turned out like that wasn't entirely true the entire time. There were some people that were like, bro, you're shanking me with all your damn solutionizing. You need to back off. And so I'm wondering, Jen, am I the only one that's experienced that?
No. So you and I have talked about this, and it was like a situation happened, and then I had this moment of sometimes the value I bring is to not bring value, and you're just like, what do you mean? I'm like, okay, so again, my example is with my girls, and I think I shared it on LinkedIn, but it was my girls wanted to make pancakes for Mother's Day. So Mother's Day morning wanted to make pancakes. And the little one wanted to do it, brought her sister in, and they were, doing this together, which was amazing. And again, I'm watching and I'm observing, and like my brain is like automatically like, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Like, no, that's not right. Do that, whatever. And like, that's my mode everywhere. That's my mode when I go to work. That's my mode at home. That's my mode at the job site. When I'm interacting, it's like that solutionizing part of, I see a better way. I see that this could be done differently. And a lot of times that's our value. That's what we bring. And there was a moment to where like I was about to say something, and then I went, Jennifer, shut up. Like, back up, watch what's going on in front of you. They are like interacting, which is for an 11 and 13-year-old, doesn't happen very much, but they were interacting. They were helping each other. They were talking through it. It was mess everywhere. The pancakes were, misshapen. They were all different, whatever. And as they were doing it, they were kind of figuring some things out. My value was to say nothing. My value was to sit back and let that happen and let them figure it out. And as that was happening, they were learning, they were growing, they were, communicating, they were collaborating, they were doing things. And like, it was a aha moment. And you and I talked about it, where my value was to bring no value. My value was to say nothing. And like, in our little CI minds, like, how does that even make sense?
Well, so I remember the conversation. I was super excited because right, the sweat equity thing that where I discovered, where my mind shifted around continuous improvement and lean and all this stuff, from it was a dramatic shift from optimization, output, profits. Like, I know those things are important, but I had the shift to say, oh, I need to, if I improve the work for the human being, that's different. It's more meaningful. Like, it was a tremendous, like, a paradigm shift. I had a paradigm shift on that one. And part of that is coming into a situation, observing, understanding what's going on, like, not operationally. How does it feel for the people that are doing the damn thing? Like, and we're gonna go deeper with your pancake escapade because it's a beautiful story. But like, in that situation, you walked in, the girls are making pancakes because they're doing this special thing. Was it Mother's Day weekend?
It was Mother's Day morning, yes.
Right. So Mother's Day morning, their whole intent is to do something special for you. Right.
Yep.
Your instinct was to, what was your first instinct, Jen? Tell us.
My first instinct was like, don't do that. Do this instead, or that's not right. Like, that was my first. You're like, don't, that's not the right measuring cup, or that's not, I mean, like, it was just, if you use this scoop instead of that scoop, like, they'll be rounder. I mean, like, that's where my brain was just, it was firing off. I mean, and literally they were right on the tip of my tongue as I was seeing it. And what I did in that moment, when I had that aha moment, is I stepped back, I grabbed my freaking phone, and I just started snapping pictures, because I was like, what was happening in front of me was like, I mean, in the pictures, if you go back and find the post, I mean, they're looking under it, making sure they're the right, is it the right, is it ready to flip yet? You can look at I mean, but they were doing it together. Like that. I mean, again, I had to like intentionally like make myself step back and not engage in what was going on.
And what was the outcome?
Amazing. They were proud. They were excited. They each batch got better. Like they were flipping them at different times, and they, the shapes were getting a little better, but it didn't even matter. The point is at the end, they were so excited to be able to have a plate full of pancakes for us to eat.
Yeah. Yeah. Steve Martin tells us sometimes saying nothing is the best way to contribute to other successes. And so, beautiful point, Steve. And you're getting it right. There's something in our brains, and back to the title of this conversation. The title of the conversation is When to Turn It Off. Mm-hmm. Right. So at home on Mother's Day, your mommy, you're not the lean practice leader, right?
Exactly.
But you were compelled to go and lean out the situation.
Yes, now, absolutely.
What kind of subliminal, and this is a question to the NoBS tribe out there. When you walk into any situation, personal, let's keep it personal, because we start getting to work, it gets all sticky. When you walk into like a personal situation with loved ones and start telling them what they're doing wrong, or let's flip it. When somebody walks into your personal space and starts telling you what you're doing wrong and how to do it right, what does that feel like?
You get defensive. I mean, yeah. We already know, you and I talk about this a lot, and even the people that are in our space, like, we already know we have to show up knowing we don't have all the answers. We have to show up being willing to go, I don't know. Let me, we have to show up that way. If we don't show up that way, we're already setting it up for disaster or failure. So even if we walk into a situation and that is our mindset, that there could be a better way, which we believe that there's always a better way, and we believe that we may not have all the answers. If someone comes in and starts going, you need to do this, you need to do this, even with me knowing that that's how I need to show up, I'm still going to get defensive. I'm still going to, well, how do you know that? What do you, and start asking all the questions to try to defend, not even that I have the right answer, but that you may not have the right answer either. Why do I need to listen to you? And so again, that none of that makes sense logically, but that's where we go when someone starts coming at us and telling us, you need to do this, you need to do this. That's not right.
Yes. And so Ms. Carrie, right, we got defenses go up. Carrie says, so hard not to jump in and fix everything. #solutionizing. I mean, y'all have heard me use this term, solution shanking.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I use that term is because that's kind of what it feels like,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, I remember when I first got introduced to lean, and somebody coming into my space and say, "Oh, you need a 5S your gang box. You need a 5S your Codex." A little like, man, you get the, because it feels like an attack.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not just talking about work, right? You and I are talking about our personal lives,
Yes.
because these things are real and in our life.
And they affect the work. So
they affect the work.
All we talk about is work, and but like our people in our space, all we talk about is work, because that's where we focus. But everything in our personal life affects our work.
Yep, 100%, and it's all connected, right?
Yes.
So, and the most offensive place to do the solutionizing is at home, right? Like it's the most improper place to do the darn thing. Dominic, what's going on, Dominic? He says they were proud of the cooking process more than the outcome. Oh, this is so much gold. And you were affecting their pride by modifying their process.
Mm-hmm.
So how often do outcomes detract us, distract us, rob us of a beautiful, intimate human experience?
We've talked about that. You and I, we specifically talked about it when we were doing the podcast with Jason, the Elevate Construction podcast, on how many times in our space do we focus so much on the outcomes, and what the end product needs to be. We forget about the people that are affecting that, the people that are needed to be able to produce that outcome. We focus so much on the outcome. We don't think about the processes and the people and what's the learning and everything that's happening to get to that outcome. Because again, ROI and KPIs and all those things are like they're outcomes. We don't think about the people in the processes and what's happening to them. How are they learning to lead better? How are they getting inspired? How are they, what are they learning? How are they growing? We don't ask those questions.
That's growing. How are we nurturing the people? How are we providing an environment that facilitates the development of capabilities? Right. And like, here's the strange nuance is, yes, I'm a lean freak, right? I'm a continuous improvement addict, whatever. There's a threshold where my energy about it turns people off. There's a threshold that my
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's hard to believe. I know. Where my constant ravenous approach to it creates this environment where people are scared, creates this environment where people feel less than. And Bruce shares, and this is true, right? Sometimes you need to guide, ask questions to get the attention and awareness engaged so they can start to see and understand what is happening. Guiding is not telling. And by no means are we saying that you can't tell people. But again, we're talking about pancakes on Mother's Day morning, and you were still driven to go in and fix.
And even at that point, like even questions at that point would have detracted. Like, oh yes, Steve Forrest is already bringing the game already. Steve, you and Forrest need to get. Oh look, Steve's already right there.
Man, that is. Thank you for yes. Like how to shut it down, baby, and be present now. And go further. How many of us? Well, you and I, Jen. Let's go there.
Okay.
How long have you been caught up in perfection and polishing the hell out of stuff so that it doesn't come across wrong, so that it's perfectly said, the whole message comes out and everybody understands and nobody's offended? And you ever been in that mindset?
Like my whole life, yes.
Yeah, same. Believe it or not, same. It was a long, long time ago. Where do we think that comes from?
Fear of failure. I think we try to get it so perfect and we want to try to make sure it's right. So one, that it doesn't fall, it doesn't fail, and someone doesn't come and say, I told you so.
Okay.
And for me, I think that's when I look back on it, it's that I didn't want it to be a disaster. I didn't want it to fail. So I just kept, okay, how do I get it to the best possible place to where that I minimize what could go wrong?
Yes. Now, I'm going to go somewhere a little deeper, but I want to recognize some folks because we got some folks coming in from the Facebook. Yvonne Gutierrez. That's not a picture of Yvonne, y'all. That's her fur baby, I guess. And then Fernando Cortinas. That's my boy. If y'all don't know, the Learnings and Missteps podcast, it was him, my vision of Fernando, that helped me say, this is what I need to do with the podcast. I think he's like episode 3 or episode 4. That guy he's an amazing guy. And we joke, Fernando, I know you probably want to put your invisible sunglasses on because, he's one of those cool guys that wears his sunglasses all the time, inside even, right? He's a biker. He's got a motorcycle. At first glance, you wouldn't know. You would have no idea that he's so ingrained and engaged in the community, doing fan drives, doing toy drives, helping out the west side of San Antonio. You would never guess that. And I knew that we had to get his story out and that we had to get other craft workers' stories out so people could know. So, Fernando, I love you, brother, and thank you for being on there or being on here with us. We also got Larry Carroll. He said, good morning. And of course, the chat is just blowing up. Trying to keep up, but guys, y'all, please keep interacting with each other and supporting each other. Adam's doing a fantastic job. I'm gonna bring Forrest back up. Right, this should have been called "How to Appropriately Just Shut the Mouth, Quit Flapping the Gums." Buddy shares, yes, absolutely fear of failure. So back to Pancake Day. Mm-hmm. In that moment, you felt like you needed to say, hold on, stop doing that. You're using the wrong thing. Organize it this way. Put these things in order. It'll be faster. Like the right way to do it. And the intent was just to make it smoother or righter.
To help them.
Okay.
To help them.
What subliminal message do you think that sends?
I know it's not even like subliminal. It happens is they come to me. And again, I suck at this. I suck so bad is they come to me with, and Alex will do it because she draws. And I've shared a lot of her drawings and stuff like that. Like she's really good. She's 11. She draws amazing caricatures and stuff like that. And she'll bring them to me and show them to me. And my first thought is, oh my gosh, that is amazing. Have you thought about this? Or, hey, you should do this. Or like, I go there and it's not to attack her picture, but I was doing that and I was watching her face and it was just like whatever she was excited about sharing was done. It was done because I'm now taking away from what she brought to me. And again, it wasn't at any point to detract or take away, but my brain was like, that's great. But have you thought about this? Or did you think about this? Or you should color it. Because then it would that's what I do. And it was not in my mind. It was like, to make it better or to add another element to it, whatever. And that's not what she was trying to do. She wasn't doing it to make it perfect. She wasn't doing it to have the best this or to put it out on, Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever. She created something and she was showing it to me because she was excited about it. And like, I was doing that and watching the result, and then she was done, didn't care, didn't want to hear what I had to say, and went and just left. And like I have to, in my mind, even though it goes there, I can't make it not go there. I have to like focus exactly on what it is. And I've done it with my older one when she comes in and she's complaining about something at school, whether it was a friend or a teacher or something. Like my brain goes to, yes, but what did you do? Or yes, but have you thought about the situation and they could be struggling with something and that's why they jumped at you. And that's why, that's where I go because that makes sense. But it doesn't validate her feelings. And so I like have to stop and go, oh my gosh, I can completely see what you're saying and how you're feeling and, and just completely focus on that. And it seems so simple, but like we do it and not even realize what we're taking away.
Yes. So you mentioned the word validate. So in the moment when the girls bring you something they want to celebrate or a problem that they're wrestling with, and you jump to solutionizing, do you think they feel like they matter?
Oh, they less than what they did when they came into the conversation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so when to turn it off, when to shut STFU, we got it. Like, I think it's super, super important. That's why I love you, Jen, because you're aware and you're adjusting as we're like, this is all live. This happened a couple weeks ago, right? Like a couple weeks ago, like, oh my God, Jess, this happened. What? I was like, yeah, absolutely. Because what we're doing unintentionally is cementing these insecurities in our youth and in our loved ones. Because what we're telling them, what the signal that we're putting out is you're wrong.
Or you're less than.
You are less than.
Yeah.
And that doesn't feel good. And then we wonder, why don't they talk to me anymore? Well, maybe because the past 10 years, you've been telling them to shut up, like inadvertently. And so Bruce, again, bringing the knowledge, he asks, is that shutting it down, or is it just still leading, but simply nurturing rather than stifling? Damn, gangsta. You nailed it, Bruce. I mean, that's it. It's creating the conditions for vulnerability. It's creating the conditions for people to be open and free and share and celebrate or grieve or whatever. I mean, Miss Carey says, we've all seen or felt failure. So turning off our see it, say it, fix it is our autopilot to not have fails for others around us. You know, I remember some people out there in the omniverse know that I have like issues with touch. Like it's not a comfortable thing for me.
That's good to know. See, now every time I see you, I'm like bear hugging you. But
no, it helps because I've been actively practicing to build that comfort. The first time it came up, I was in a bachata dance team, a choreographed dance competition. And part of the choreography required the lady to like rub her hand. It was super sensual, right? She had to rub her hand across my face. I didn't know this, but after a while, like after a few iterations, she's like, Jesse, what's wrong with you? What are you talking about? It's like, every time I put my hand near your face, you like freak out. Like, no, I don't. And we were recording it, of course. And sure enough, like I had that thing, right? That I just had this averse reaction to touch. And so I started reflecting. And I remember like the last time I really remember wanting to be touched, I was a little guy. And so a dog. No. Pamela Gonzalez moved. And she was my girlfriend in first grade. I stole a kiss. I hid in the closet behind her coat. And when she grabbed the coat, ma'am, I laid one on her. Anyways, she moved, her family moved. I was like super sad and, hurt. And I'm crying. And mom's like, she said, just come here. And like, it's okay to cry. I'll never forget that. Because she made it okay. Like I didn't need the logic of, well, mijo, this isn't real love. This is puppy love. People move away. This is going to happen. You need to get like all of that. All of those things were true, but that's not what I needed. What I needed was some comfort. And so how often do we do that? Do we minimize the people's feelings because we want to go to repair? We want to go to recover. We want to go to fix. And so here's a question. Is it selfish motivation to want to fix, to like give into that need, that compulsion to fix?
I think the selfish part of it is that if I'm in a situation with you and we're having a conversation and my mind goes to, I want to fix it, that means I already think I have the answer. To me, that's the selfish part. Mm. And so there may be a need. What does Jesse need? I may not know. I may not know what Jesse needs. I may have an idea of what Jesse needs. But if I come in with, I know what he needs and I can help him so that he's better. And that's how I start it. And that's how I approach the conversation. And I'm not at any point vetting, asking questions, asking questions to understand. Then to me, that's the selfish part, because I'm trying to, whether it's just get it, move on, or just stop crying, whatever. And that's a bad one that I'm still processing on. Just, it's not that big a deal. It's not that big a deal. Like, again, validating and what do they need, not thinking you already know that, because you're not inside their head. You don't know their experiences, their backgrounds. We've talked about this, just people we interact with. We don't know what led them to that moment. So we can't say those are not valid feelings. You're not, that's not real. We can't, we don't have the right to do that because we have no idea. Right now, you're talking about an experience in first grade. How many people right now in this space, right now, today, during this live stream, were a part of that? Nobody. Yeah, yet that is something that is impactful, and it impacts right now even how you show up, how you feel, and how you're interacting with people. So we cannot make assumptions that we know, and we know what the answer is, we know how to fix it, and going in with that approach. That's the selfish part, in my opinion.
So Maria Martin dropping some wisdom. She says 10 out of 10. Best question she learned 2018, asking, what do you need to vent or hear solutions? Right? Like, that's massive cheat code. Okay, I understand you want to talk. There's something going on. Do you want to vent? Or do you want me to fix this for you? Right? Like, that's fair. That's a fair question. And it's a power question, because sometimes people just want to vent. And guess what? If you want to vent, I get to turn my brain off and just listen to you vent. Now, like, for real, if you want sympathy, I'm the wrong person to go to. Like, I'll listen to you, but I ain't going to feel bad for you. If you want an accomplice in your BS, I'm the wrong person to go to. But if you want to vent, be clear about what it, like, the intent of the conversation. That will be helpful.
But if you want an accomplice to go and jump the fence and go and maybe do something that's a little on the not up and up, Jesse's the person.
I'm your guy. Let's go do the thing. Boom. Thomas LeMay. He says a ship is safe in the harbor, but being safe in the harbor is not the ship's purpose. Ooh, philosopher. What do you think about that, Jen?
No, I mean, he's right, though. It's like we cater and we walk around and we tiptoe around things. And do we ask the questions to understand? Do we ask the questions to really see what the purpose is? What I think the questions help us understand our value in that place. Asking the questions, it's going to help me know, okay, here's where I could add value. Here's where I just need to shut up, because that's not that's not where I can add value. The questions help. And so again, it's somebody's in a place where they're just trying to be safe and protected. They don't want to get attacked. They don't want to fail. Me coming in going, it's no big deal. It's okay. You can fail. Don't worry about it. Whatever. Like, that is not my value. Like, that's not adding value.
So you just opened up another door, Jennifer.
Of course.
So you said that the questions, this value proposition, the value question. In that in the pancake situation, what was your perceived value and what was your actual value?
My perceived value is always, I have two girls, and they're young and they're still figuring out what their purpose is and their value and all these things. And my perceived value is I need to help them to maximize what that could be. That's my perceived value as a mother. The actual value sometimes is that I need to recognize I don't know what that could be. Now, there's things that are going to dictate my decisions and what I think, because of how I grew up, single father, raising 4 kids, a lot of things that now I want to make sure that I am instilling in them so that they are prepared for the world. But I also, they're navigating things that I didn't have to navigate at 11 and 13 years old. They're now, they're dealing with things, in the grades they're in that I didn't have to deal with till high school. And now they're dealing with a lot of things. So me coming in and just knowing that I have all the answers and I can help guide and shape them into the direction they need to go, that's just foolish, because I don't know what they're dealing with. And when they come in, if I jump to well, do this. Well, you should have done this. Well, did you think about this? That's, again, it's foolish because they're coming in talking to me about stuff that, one, blows my mind because of the age they are and the things that they're having to deal with. But look at the world right now. Look at the things outside of just us and this tribe and the things we're doing that, on social media and the things that we're having to deal with in schools. I had a post on that last week. Is my 11-year-old, I had to have a conversation with her on why she had to go to school the last day. Mom, I don't want to go to school, because they were talking about, there were people at school the day before talking about the shootings and talking about the things that were going on, and that was a lot of conversation. And my mom's not making me go to school tomorrow. I mean, there was just a lot of stuff like that, a fear and things like that. And so she, wanted to understand why it happened. And then why do I have to go to school? Like, I didn't have to think about those things at 11 and 13 years old.
Right.
And so again, I can't come in with, I have the answers. And if I just teach them what I know, then they're going to be great. I can't. I've got to listen, and I've got to cater where I think my value is to what they need.
I love it. So Mike Hyman drops a question, right? Like kind of relative to Maria's nugget that she dropped in there. It's like, how can I help you achieve your full potential today? So here's, here we go. We come into, I'll say me, I come into every situation with the preconceived notion of the value the people in front of me need. The magic is figuring out what value they are seeking. What do you think about that?
Yes, Jeff? No, that's solid, because it's the need, what they need. You just said, I'm coming in with the value they need. That's you. That's your perspective. That's you going, this is what they need. And we've talked about this all the time, is what are they looking for? What do they need? And we can't define that. It doesn't even matter. We can't define that. Even when they're babies, we can't define what they need, because in their minds, they can't communicate it. So we're having to guess, but it's still, we can't define it because we're not inside their heads. We're not inside their thoughts, their experiences, all the things as they're growing up. And again, mine are all based on my daughters, but it's like, we can't define that until we start having conversations. And if we're not having those conversations with them to help them communicate that back to us, then we're failing them, because putting things in their mouth and telling them, this is what you should do, this is what you should feel, that's not validated, that's not right, you shouldn't do that. Like, we're just screwing them up. We can't do that. We have to help them articulate and communicate the things that are not okay with them. I had this disaster last weekend happen with, again, we'll talk about that in a minute. Just again, communication. It was about communication and how are we helping them communicate things that are not okay.
Yes. And so here's the question. I'm going to go to the comments because we got a lot of really great stuff out there.
Okay.
But a question to the Omniverse, to the NoBS tribe.
Yes.
How do you figure out what value the people in your personal space are seeking? Not what they need, what you believe they need, but what do they want from you? What is it that they value from you? And so go into the comments. Love it, because we're talking about kids and we're bringing all this up. So Valerie says, yes, parents will complain about why the kids won't help them clean, when in the past, if they did nothing but tell them how to clean, instead of letting them learn how to do it, they get frustrated and they no longer want to do it.
Valerie is 1,000% right, because I've done it. It's like, that's not how you sweep. That's not how you mop. That's not how you vacuum. That's not how you this. You didn't get that. You didn't, like, that's automatic, because we want to make it perfect. We want to help them be the best cleaner in the world, because that's what parents do. And then they're just like, screw this cleaning stuff. I don't want to deal with this. I have to deal with that in school all day.
Yes. See, that's my excuse. That's why I don't clean anymore. I was ruined by my mom. I was traumatized about cleaning. Oh my God. And then of course, Yesenia says, so true, Valerie. My husband won't wash dishes because when he was young, his mom rewashed them right after him. So he realized he didn't do it right and would never do it right. So why even try? 100%. I was part of this group Oh, yes, beautiful. Nirkash says maybe an approach as the student mindset first. That's a cheat code, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we approach every situation as a learner, not the expert, as the learner, I think we'll break down some walls there for
I
sure.
agree.
Thank you for that, Mr. Nirkash. So I was part of it was a group that was building capabilities within parents. So we went on this little kind of weekend retreat, and it was all the students and all the parents, and we were making dinner. We were all fixing dinner as a group, and the goal was to have the kids, the students, they were middle school students. My baby brother was there, do the prep, and the parents, which were mostly mothers, were like, just chill out and relax. And there was this one mom, and she was like, "Oh, my boy, good-looking young guy, right?" She's like, "Oh, he needs to be independent." Okay. And so I took him with me. I'm like, "Hey, man, I think his name was Angel." I said, "Hey, dude, let's cut the food. Let's prep the veggies." And so to me, it's no big deal. I give him a knife. I give him the cutting board. I say, "Okay, this is how you do it." He's like, "Okay, good." And he's going to town, and we're all kind of working. Mom comes in and like loses her mind, like he was at Death Con 6 or whatever. Like she was just freaking out. And oh my God, oh, he's gonna cut himself. And then she gets involved, and she's like, "No, mijo, let me do it, and just stand there and watch." And I'm like, "Oh, man, you were complaining about he's not independent and he needs you to do everything." She's like, "Yeah, I know. I don't know why he doesn't do it." I said, "Well, let me tell you what I just saw." Because same thing, like Yesenia's example, when we take that away from them, and I've experienced this in the trade. My dad was not the best teacher when I was young. As I got older, he became a really great teacher, and I was always pissed off about it because, like, why didn't you teach me that way? But early on, I think a lot of us do this, especially, I mean, a lot of folks out there probably know this feeling. If you've ever had to hold the flashlight for your dad or somebody working on the brakes or working under the hood, that is not a fun experience, right? Point it where I'm watching. I can't see your stupid eyes. I'm behind you. No, not like that. Like that is not a motivating experience. But it's those kinds of things that we do that create this divide, and we want to demo the divide, but create this divide between our loved ones and what we're actually trying to achieve. The intended outcome is to have a safe place where people can go for reprieve, to recharge, to connect, and just be themselves. But because of our behaviors, our conditioning, we undermine that. What do you think, Jen?
Yes. So what you just said, and again, it goes back to, again, so many comments about listening and, not being the solutionizer and coming in to understand more than to, I have the answer. And so those of you that have been, I have 3 brothers, and one of them was on here, and, we did a segment back in March together. So that was the one that I've had the most consistent relationship with over time. And the other 2, they've had their moments where, they were independent and they were going to do their own thing. And I remember with each of them, we as siblings, single fathers. So we grew up very close and helping each other. And they were in a place that, we thought, well, we need to fix them. We need to help them understand how important it is to be a part of, this family. And we would push, and we would tell them, you need to be here, Christmas, Thanksgiving, things like that. Because that's what you do as a family. You get together and because that's important. And what we realized, the more that we came in and told them what they needed to do, and we came in and we told them, almost like made them feel guilty because, how can you not want to be here? How can you not know that how important this is? It just pushed them away. And you and I've talked about this. What we don't realize, and again, I'm taking this to family right now, and my brothers specifically, is there are people out there that are wandering around in the dark, and they are trying to figure out things. And could be, a lot, it could be mental health, it could be substance abuse, it could be a lot of different things. And we may see a solution. We may see something that could help them get out of the dark. if they're not in a place where they want to get out of the dark or they recognize they're in the dark, us trying to shine a light on them and trying to pull them somewhere is going to be met with resistance. And sometimes, going back to when to turn it off, sometimes the best thing we can do is step back, still be there, still be making sure that you haven't disappeared and you haven't just completely walked away. But sometimes they have to navigate their way to the place where they know they need help, or they know they need someone to guide them or to give them some advice. And you kind of just have to wait until they're there.
Yes. Yeah. As we had that conversation, Jen, the way it's landed in my head was, we walk into a situation, we haven't been living that pain, but we can clearly see, like, ooh, these are some things that probably, if you change this, it might be better. Mm-hmm. They don't have the bandwidth to even see that because they're in chaos. Mm-hmm. And so the appropriate thing to do, or I'll say it this way, the thing I have chosen to do and found to be very fruitful is to help stabilize the environment.
That, yes, go go deeper in that. Yes.
Like, it's messy, it's crazy, they're in an emotional state, they feel like failures, whatever it is, right? They're not meeting their budget, they're not meeting their production goals, doesn't matter, whatever it is, there's a crisis. Mm-hmm. And I can come in and start talking about 5S in relationships. There's a book, by the way, on it, or 8 Ways or whatever, like all the junk. There's no bandwidth to receive because they're still in the chaos.
Yep.
So the appropriate thing to do, I believe, or that I've done and seen great benefit from, is read the room, right? Will Sullivan says, can you read the room? Pick up on the energy and adjust the frequency. If they're in chaos, what can I do to help stabilize the situation? Because my wisdom, all my knowledge and expertise, guess what? Does not have a stabilizing effect. So improvement disrupts.
Yes.
Improvement is disruptive. So to jump to improvement, to jump to fixing, I'm compounding the chaos. So I'm best off just STFUing and getting my hands a little dirty to stabilize the environment. What do you think?
And a great analogy is someone's drowning. Someone's flailing around and they're drowning. And you are there and you see it. Mm-hmm. Is the best thing to go, where's your life jacket? Why are you in the water so deep you can't swim? Why did you not think about the undercurrent? Versus here's something for you to hold on to that keeps you from going under the water.
Yes.
Now you're at a place where you can at least think, and you're not in this panic, the world's about to end mode. That makes logical sense when you explain it like that. But how many times are we in those situations where we see the chaos and we go in and start going, why do you do this? Why do you do this? Why do you do this? At no point are they in a place to receive that.
And it's offensive.
Yes.
Like, duh, I know I made a mistake. Please help me not drown. And Dennis shares the learning experience we have when we just step back, be quiet, and listen, right? We learn and the people learn, like these fabulous pancake cookers, right? What did they learn? And so, but it's real. So Steve Martin, our chief marketeer, says, when you're paid and specialize in fixing anything that goes wrong, it's easy to turn on the autopilot, right? Winky wink to Carrie. Reflecting on how solutions are better when we include others was career changing for me. We are better together. # better together. And again, that's the point of this conversation is you don't have to be a continuous improvement zealot to have this problem, right? You're just managing people, being a parent, having responsibility for other people creates this condition for us to have this overwhelming need to always be fixing. But that's not always helpful. And we could miss some really beautiful exchanges, some really beautiful experiences because we jump to fixing. So Anson Green, he dumping leaks in the chat. Thank you.
Yes,
It's a great book on this topic. It's very influential on helping yourself and others be vulnerable. Oh, the scary word. We already know Armando Tunales calls it the V word, like, because he's afraid of it. But that's an important thing, right? Like, strengthen relationships, developing habits of relationship success, step-by-step guide for improving your relationships. There's a resource, y'all. Go ahead and check it out. Thank you for that, Anson. And then Maria, simple. Never do for a child what they can do for themselves. Yeah, Maria Montessori, gold, except when in a hurry. Right? Oh man, I love that.
Yes.
I used to have to help motivate, not have to, I had the opportunity to motivate a very young, awesome guy, get him ready to go to school. And morning was not, he was not the morning person that I am. Like, bro, come on, we gotta go. It's okay. This is a time frame you have to get ready. I ain't gonna dress you, bro, but we're leaving the house at this time. So you can leave the house dressed or not. Okay, and of course he was like, so he wanted to challenge. Okay, let's challenge that. 7:05, we got to be in the truck. Let's go. He's in his tidy whities, and I got to get ready. Get ready in the truck, brother, because you can do this by yourself. I just had to create the condition, share a little bit of the pain that I was experiencing having to dress him. And guess what? All of a sudden, he knew the next day he better get ready, because if not, he's going in his chones. So sometimes we got to create those conditions.
We have to trust, and we have to trust that it could go wrong and it could be a disaster. But we don't stop and think about the times we were in those situations and we got dropped in the, jump off the cliff, dropped in the water, and we figured it out. Like, we don't stop and think about that, because now we're in a place where, we can like control. That's the word there, because we have control of what's going to happen. And like, sometimes no one wants to like predict the fail, but sometimes we can't be the one that makes the point. And so I have an example that happened last weekend. So one of my daughters wanted to go and get her nails done, and it was a big deal. And I'm like, I don't think, in my mind, I don't think you're going to be okay with this. Like, I'm just, they're going to be a little bit longer. You're not going to like them. That's where I knew that. Like, I knew that with every ounce in me. And so kind of asked some questions. No. I know. I want it. I'm like, okay. So we went, and went through the process and got those nails done, and left there. And I could tell she wasn't okay. I could tell something wasn't, she was not okay, but she was, holding it together. And about 30 minutes out, she comes to me with tears in her eyes, and she's like, I hate him. She just lost it. And then we went back and we got them taken off. And, my brothers were, how much did that cost you? That was my brother's question to me. And I said, you know what? It didn't even matter, because she will not ever ask me to get them done again. And so, but again, it was like, I knew she wasn't going to like him. And I knew that she was, but it's like, it didn't matter that I knew that. And like, and that's right. Like such a small microcosm of what we're talking about. But like, how many times do we know? But it's like, is it worth going through the process? So they're learning, they're growing, they're understanding. And I didn't have to go, I told you so. I was right, you were wrong. Like that wouldn't have helped. But now she and I took her back, and we got to take it off. And then she realized, and she apologized, and that, again, we went through this whole process, but like, we try to stop that and prevent it, because we have all this experience. So we want to be able to protect and do that, so that they don't have to worry about that. But what do they learn when we're doing that?
Nothing. So we got Tanya Leah De Stefano, LinkedIn. I'm cheating because I got my phone right here and I can see. Tanya says, sometimes we have to wait until they are there. Yes, patience is a virtue that we can all improve on.
Yes.
And thank you, Tanya, because I kind of needed a life vest on this thing, because, I've said many times, to help people come to terms with change or to get to a point where they're ready to improve, you got to make them feel the pain. And I don't mean like go torture people.
Yes.
What I mean is you can see the train wreck coming.
Yes.
And and you just said it, right? If we go in like, oh, no, watch out. Like, oh no, like you need to feel this so that you can remember, right? So that now we have a venue to have a conversation and solidify the learning.
Yes.
Carrie, super wisdom. It's the lesson, not the course.
Yes. That's what I said. Priceless. It was like when I told my brother it cost $26. The lesson is priceless. It's like it will go on. And that was the best $26 I've spent in a long time.
Exactly. Because you know what? I think Keon quoted this, and it may be in a book coming out very soon. Hint, hint, hint. We can make more money, but we can't make more time.
Right.
Like $28. Come on, man. I can go mow a lawn for that. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe not that. Maybe back when I was a kid. Now I might charge $78. That's a joke because no, I am not going to go mow. I don't even mow my own damn lawn. So we got like 14 minutes left. Lots of value out there in the comments. And Angel, the curious idealist, asks, do we have some examples of things you do to stabilize the environment?
Go.
I'm going to go first. So I'm using an example, Renee. When he was in middle school, he was a happy kid, right? Elementary school, happy, go lucky. And then once he got to like 6th, 7th grade, I think he became more aware, emotions and all of that stuff started happening. And he came home one day and he was struggling. And like all of a sudden his grades in math were like sliding. And he's a math guy. And I'm like, what? Like, what's going on? But it was clear that something was up. And he just didn't have the space to deal with it. And so he was real emotional. He was crying. He was frustrated. He was angry. And so two things happened. I'm like, okay, because I'm like, dude, you need to get tutoring. You need to buckle down. This is what you did. And I was like, oh, that wasn't helping. I say, okay, let me pump the brakes a little bit and ask him, like, dude, like, what's going on? Because you seem unhappy. You seem frustrated. You seem lost. And I remember he looked at me and he says, well, he said, there's this, it's complicated. And I said, uh-oh, that means I hope it was a girl, damn it. And no, it wasn't a girl. It was complicated. He said, look, here's the thing, Jesse, is I'm not getting A's in the class. And I'm afraid that you're not going to love me anymore because this is a hard class and I'm getting lower grades. And I said, oh, damn. Like, because that's what I was signaling to him. The other part of it, he says, and Jess, like, it's not cool to be a nerd. I don't want A's because that makes me a nerd. He's like, so like I have you and then I have my friends, like I can't win. And I'm like, oh, damn. So to Angel's question, he was in this state of chaos, right? And I had to help stabilize the environment. And so like what I did was I just got super vulnerable and I stopped being the big brother and said, dude, I've been there. Right? I understand what you're feeling. Like, it's not about getting A's. It's about challenging yourself. Yes, this is a higher level math, more challenging math than you need to take. I'm proud of you for doing what you need to do to get whatever damn grade you're getting. And he's like, well, you never told me that. I'm like, I know, I suck. Thank you. But I had to tell him what I really felt, and the whole purpose behind it was like, this is where I'm at. This is the purpose. And I love you no matter what. But I'm not going to let you quit. But you don't need to get an A for me to love you. The other part was like, look, I understand the whole nerd thing because believe it or not, I was a nerd, right? And he's like, no way. I'm like, oh, yeah, I was a mega nerd. And it's not that bad. Like, it's not comfortable. You may not be popular. You may not, it's funky. But when I got to be super cool guy, that didn't change any of my insecurities. I was still insecure. I still felt like I didn't belong. I still wondered what people thought about me all the time. Like, so it's just that, like, it was. And so Angel says it, right? Be curious, be kind, and be real. That's it. When people are in their crisis state, in the chaos, be curious, seek to understand what's going on. Thomas and I had a deep conversation because we're going to be releasing some collabo sessions on the goal of what's happening. What are all the contributing factors? Not one, not the root cause. What's all the damn mess that's contributing to this chaos? I can't see that if I'm not curious. And I've got to be kind. Because if I come at them like, why didn't you try this? And you should do this. Like, that's not kind. That's being a jerkhead, right? With my solutionizing knives. And then be real. Just tell them, hey, I see where you're at. I see you're drowning. I'm going to help you get out of this drowning thing. And catch your breath. And then we're going to dive in and figure out how to not be in a drowning situation again. We're going to get to that later. Right now, let's just make sure you can breathe. What do you think, Jen?
So yes, everything you just said. So what I want to, I guess, go a little bit deeper. For me, how do you stabilize? And it comes down to two things. It comes down to being consistent and giving space. And for me, when you think about those two things, and I'm looking at it from my family, my brother's situation, and from my daughter's situation. Being consistent wherever they are, I'm here. Whether they need help, they don't need help, I'm here. I'm not going away. I will come to you. I am here. That consistency where there's no question in their mind that at any point when they're they're ready, that they know I'm going to be there. And on the flip side, the consistency is there in giving them space. Because when I try to impede and I try to, again, go in because I'm ready, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter if I'm ready. They have to be ready. And so the example for my daughter is there's times where I can tell she's not okay. And I'll go and I'll ask her, what's going on. It's hard to explain. And that is an indicator for me. And she says it every time she's in a place that it may be hard for her to articulate the words, but she's not in a place ready to communicate it. It's hard to explain, Mom. And for so many times, let me, is it this? Is it that? That's where I went because I wanted to help her. And all I can do now is confirm that I am here. And when you are ready, we can talk about it. And then I stop and I back away. And it stabilizes it with me doing nothing more than just giving the consistency and creating the space. Yes.
And you and I talk a lot about creating the conditions, right? And we see it all over the social media spaces, psychological safety, and what you just talked about was creating the conditions of psychological safety.
Mm-hmm.
And they are a decision. They don't happen by mistake, right? Thomas says when we see repeated errors or defects, they happen again and again, they're not mistakes, they are decisions. So what I take from that comment is both sides of the coin. Like a lot of what we've been talking about we'll say they were anomalies. They were single incidents, and we can go in and adjust and do what we needed to do. Now, you better believe if Renee was making the same damn mistake over and over, like it wasn't hugs and kisses anymore. It's like, bro, you did this 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
I've did a bunch of dumb things many times. And I received tremendous value from people saying, okay, dude, like not again. There's no nurturing time here. You need to get your head out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing. Now, the other side of the coin is, as it relates to creating the space, the conditions of psychological safety, if we continue to repeatedly solutionize and jump to fixing and jump to saving, that is not an accident.
Nope.
If you've listened to this conversation and you go into your next personal situation and jump to fixing,
And
it's no longer
enabling.
an accident.
And enabling. Like enabling is so big. Like when you're doing that, you're helping nothing.
Yes. You're not helping anybody. And so for me, I asked this question earlier. The way I reconcile it in my head to get comfort around not solutionizing and just asking questions, Adam's in the background, he knows, like, I'm just going to ask a bunch of questions.
Mm-hmm.
For me to in my former solutionizer life, it fed my ego to go in and say, you should try this, you did it, and I'd walk away like, yeah, I gave them some great practices and I gave them an improvement list. I did my job. I'm amazing. So it was totally self-serving. Like there was that element of me just feeding my own needs. I did not bother to understand the value that people were seeking. Like when I go visit my mom, I'm gonna go visit my mom tomorrow. She don't want me to go and 5S anything. She just wants me to go and listen to her and eat some tamales and some barbacoa. Like that's what she wants. She just wants me to be present. I have to be able to turn it off in order to be present.
Okay, so great segue because I know what our homework is for the next 2 weeks.
Uh-oh.
So what I'm asking all of you to do, and obviously you may be able to do it now, but I'd rather you kind of think about what the ask is, and then over the next 2 weeks, make an intentional effort and an intentional decision to not solutionize, or an intentional effort to try to not do what you normally do in a situation, and how did that change the result or the action from it, and share that with us. So go in, and if you would normally do something, just stop and be intentional. And I'm gonna make a decision to not do this. And so here's what I did, and here's how it impacted the result.
Mm-hmm. There it is. Adam Hoots, quick on the draw. So we're about 3 minutes to closing. We got a lot of love from the Facebook peeps out there. Thank you coming in from Facebook world. We had YouTuber, we got LinkedIn, we got the Omniverse going on, baby. So thank you. Lots of good stuff. Go ahead, Jen.
Yes, sorry. I know my brain, because I don't want to forget. So again, we had some new people on. Thank you so much for being here. And we always have to push this out at the very end, because you had to listen through the whole thing before you get this information. But if you are on the podcast or you're on the live stream and you want to be a part of a group that is super intentional on supporting and elevating and acknowledging the amazing content that's out there on LinkedIn with each other, but also have a place that you can collaborate with the other tribe members, if you will drop a green heart in the comment, we will add you to the NoBS pod, which is just, again, a message pod for a group of NoBS tribe members that are sharing things, and they drop their links in there. They collaborate with each other, and we just jump on and give love and give support to those people. So if you want to be a part of that, drop a green heart. And also, if you drop the green heart or you're already in there, remember that everything we're doing when it comes to support in that pod is about people. And we're not selling anything. We're not trying to promote anything. But if the focus of the link or the post is about people and how we can be better, then please drop a green heart in there. We will add you to it, and you can see some of the stuff that's been in there. And again, amazing group of people, but please do that. And then anybody that jumps in, please love on them, support them, and elevate them, because we know we are so much better together.
100%. And I'm in the process right now of dropping the link, the Clubhouse link. So for the after party, rock stars,
Yes.
Walker Lot. Just dropped it on all the socials. Come, give us your thoughts on what the conversation was. We'll continue the conversation. It's usually a beautiful, oh yeah, we got a green heart. Nakash, what's up, baby? So 1 minute, super Zoom. Yesenia says, let them know you're there. Consistently remind them you are there. So true. Yes. carry all the truth, right? Part of the problem, part of the solution, whilst allowing them to learn lessons and a little kick in the rear end when the silly sips in. Absolutely. We have a responsibility to do that. And Forrest, first timer Forrest says, Jennifer Lacey, thank you for sharing the bits about your daughters navigating today's world. So insightful.
Thank you, Forrest.
So final thought, Miss Jen.
Today we went deep and we talked about, again, a lot of personal stuff. And so there's a lot of stuff out there, a lot of conversations going on. And I think, Jesse, what we've realized is some work stuff will seep into these conversations because of the space we work in. But it's about being vulnerable, and it's about sharing those things that, again, we can all connect and relate to. And you don't have daughters, but you can absolutely, relate to siblings and how we're doing that, and then how experiences for you. And it's just, that's how we show up. And that's what we're going to continue to do, because leaning into that space is where we find value.
Yes. Oh, we miss Linda DeLuna, who's been a very supportive and influential adult in my life all the way back to high school. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Linda.
My closing thought is, I think what I'm going to do is to continue to be vulnerable, continue to be available, and have challenging conversations. And here in the next few weeks, I'm going to go to Austin to be a part of, to experience the Lean Roadshow with my buddies Rafael and all those amazing construction lean people.
Yes.
And just a fair warning, I'm going to be bringing some vulnerability. And if I get invited to speak, best be ready. We're going to be opening up. Yes, Yesenia. It's all about the people. Yes. Everybody out there, thank you for your time. The link to the after party is in the chat. Mm-hmm. Click it. It's pretty easy to get onto. Again, thank you for giving us your time and sharing your morning with us. And we'll see you again next time. Peace.
Thank y'all so much.
Yeah.